Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Now the next topic is adaptations in halophytes. Halophytes. Halophytes means those plants which live in saline habitats. They are called as halophytes. Now salinity refers to the salt concentration. Salinity जो है, it refers to salt concentration. Salt concentration that is measured in ppt, parts per trillion of water. Salinity refers to salt concentration, parts per trillion of water, and it is less than 5 in land water, that is fresh water, and it's 30 to 35 in seawater. Now, based on the tolerance of range of salinity, range of tolerance of salinity, organisms can be grouped into two types. One is called as uri-haline. These organisms can tolerate wide range of salinity. That is, they can tolerate the wide range. For instance, there is the salmon fish है. It can tolerate wide range of salinity. इसका मतलब है ये 5 to 30 or 35 it can tolerate it. But there is one that is called as cetanohaline. Cetanohaline are the organisms which can tolerate narrow range of salinity. For example, there is shark. It can tolerate 10 to 20. It is called as narrow range. So this is called as cetanohaline organisms. These are called as uri-haline organisms. Now we can have the hypersaline habitats. They are called as lagoons, where there is more than 100 है वहां पर 100 salinity. That is, they are called as hypersaline. So we can have less than 5 in land waters. We can have the normal sea water, it is 30 to 35, and we can have hypersaline habitats, that is 100. And the plants which grow in these saline habitats are called as halophytes, and these are found in tidal marshes, tidal marshes. These are found in coastal dunes. Coastal dunes. These are also found in mangroves. And there are some saline soils, etc. Now, in these habitats, tidal marshes, coastal dunes, mangroves, saline soils, the plants which grow under these conditions are called as the halophytes. Now, halophytes, these excrete, their adaptations are because they excrete salts through salt glands. They are called as chalks. On their leaves, or roots. For example, there is Atriplex, there is one Avicennia, there is Agitalis. These excrete the salts through salt glands which are found on their leaves, while the others excrete through roots. They excrete the excessive salts through roots. And there is another adaptation of these, that many species of halophytes have high levels of organic solutes. That is proline and sorbitol. For osmoregulation. To regulate the osmotic concentration of water. These have thick cuticle. These have also sunken stomata. And they also accumulate the anthocyanin pigments and tannins. These occur to reduce insulation and prevent desiccation. These occur to reduce insulation and prevent desiccation. They prevent desiccation in order that they may not lose the more water in salty conditions. And there is some plants like green alga. That is Dunella. It is a green alga. It is found in salt lakes. साल्ट लेक्स में पाया जाता है डूनल एल्गा, ये ग्रीन एल्गा है। It tolerates saline conditions by accumulating glycerol in the cells. Glycerol in its cells. There is a green alga found in the salt lakes, Dunalella इसका नाम है, and it prevents itself from higher salt concentration by accumulating the glycerol in its cells. And you know there are pneumatophores. These are respiratory roots. They are found in Avicenna, Rhizophora, Avicenna, and there is also this Agidalis, etc. These pneumatophores जो हैं, these are respiratory roots. आपने 11th में पढ़ा है वो, that they grow upwards, erect in the air, and they absorb the oxygen from the atmosphere. These are called as pneumatophores. And there is one that is called as vivipary. This is an adaptation of halophytes in which बहुत बार मैंने आपसे कहा है ये, that is seeds germinate in fruits while fruits are still attached to parent plant. And it escapes the effect of salinity on seed germination. इसका मतलब ये एक प्लांट है, इस प्लांट पे एक फ्रूट ग्रो हो रहा है, इसके अंदर सीड है। तो नॉर्मली क्या होता है, फ्रूट जो है इट गोज ऑफ, ये इससे अलग हो जाता है, देन इट बर्स्ट्स एंड इट रिलीजेस द सीड्स, और उसके बाद वो जर्मिनेट होते हैं। लेकिन इसमें क्या होता है, ये अभी फ्रूट जो है ये अभी प्लांट के साथ अटैच है, दिस इज फ्रूट, ये भी इसके साथ है। सीड मैच्योर्स एंड इट जर्मिनेट्स, और ये रेडिकल निकालता है यहाँ से, रूट निकालता है यहाँ से, एंड एज द रूट्स दिस fruit falls, this penetrates the roots into the, and then there occurs the fruit. And this phenomenon is called as vivipary. It is an adaptation for halophytes. There is another, that is adaptation of plants to light regime. ये एक्चुअली हमने डिस्कस करना था आगे, लेकिन अब एडेप्टेशंस हमारा टॉपिक है, इसलिए हम ये प्लांट्स आल्सो शो एडेप्टेशंस टू intensities of light. Plants show adaptations to intensities of light, and they have been divided into two types. One is called as sun plants or heliophytes. Sun plants or heliophytes, and these are called as photophilous also. Photophilous. These plants These plants are adapted to bright light. Adapted to bright light. These plants are adapted to bright light, and their stems जो हैं their stems are alhamdulillah, stems are hard, they are thicker with small internodes, with small internodes. They have sunken stomata, sunken stomata, generally found on the lower surface. Sunken stomata generally found on lower surface of leaves. Lower surface of leaves. And their palisade जो है that is well developed. Palisade parenchyma in leaves is well developed. Well developed. And they have smaller intracellular species. This has smaller intracellular species. These plants have leaves are pale green in color, and their root system जो है with hairy growths, hairy growth, that means hairs are on the leaves, and their root system is extensive. Root system इनका होता है extensive, that is very highly developed, and they need high temperature for optimum photosynthesis. They need high temperature for optimum photosynthesis, and they have usually thick cuticle, and they have also high rate of respiration. Now there are the sunflower. There is maize. It also needs there are rice plants. There are trees. जो trees हैं, these need the sunlight, so they are called as sun plants or heliophytes. And these are shade plants or sheophytes or photophobus इनको बोलते हैं. This is another type, and these are adapted to low intensity of light. They are adapted to low intensity of light, and their stems जो हैं they are soft. Stems are soft, cylinder with large internodes. And leaves are thin and larger in size. Leaves are thin and larger in size as compared to sun plants or heliophytes. They have thin cuticle. They have Stomata well on both surfaces. Stomata well on both surfaces. Leaves are bright green in color. Leaves are bright green in color, and they have large palisade parenchyma जो है, palisade parenchyma, it is less developed. Palisade parenchyma is less developed with large intercellular spaces. Large intercellular spaces. With large intercellular spaces. Root system is less developed or less extensively developed. Less developed. And they have low photosynthetic and respiratory activities. They have low photosynthetic and respiratory activities. They have low photosynthetic and respiratory activities, and mostly there are small grasses. इसमें grasses आते हैं, and there are some ferns, and there are bryophytes. These are shade-loving plants. Some grasses, ferns, and some bryophytes.